is Colin, and yes, Game of Thrones is finally back. Thank all the gods, the old ones and the new, and you know, our actual god. Yeah, guys, Game of Thrones changed my life. I'm so glad it's back. I'm gonna be doing tons of videos this week on Game of Thrones. I'm gonna do this review right now, which will be an in-depth analysis on what happened in this episode. Also, some of the hidden details that you missed with Easter eggs in the background, and references to the book that you didn't catch, and also some foreshadowing which could appear in future episodes. It's kind of predictions, theories. So, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, spoiler alert. If you don't watch the show, that is your own fucking fault. We've been reminding you for the past 20 months, because that's all Game of Thrones fans do. We just remind you until you watch the show and you like it or you love it. Because really, you can't really not like Game of Thrones. That's like the unspoken sin. You don't do it. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm Colin. Alright, so I actually really like the new title sequence because we really haven't changed that much of the title sequence throughout the show, and now we see it actually starting from the Night King's point of view as it goes through the wall, which is now knocked down, and you see many parallels to this episode, and actually to the very first episode of the series, Winter is Coming, including many interactions that, similar to Arya's, are to this little boy. Both of them are trying to get a spot in the crowd because they're small size, they can't see the people that are coming, and Arya, it's nice to see her older, just letting this boy by, but you also have a shot of him looking at them, which is very similar to Bran in the very first episode, the only episode that he ever walked on the entire show. So, in the way that Daenerys arrives is similar to the way that Robert Baratheon arrived, and they actually hated each other, which is ironic, because the same music is playing. The reunion between Jon and Arya was probably the most emotional of the entire episode. They only really had one scene where they actually interacted together in the second episode where he gave her needle, which really motivated her character arc and set her on that little path. So Jon, he's in a bit of a pickle here because his lover, Daenerys, is hated by the North. Little Lyanna Mormont hates him. Sansa really isn't a fan of her. She's quite sarcastic with her. And I think that for Daenerys, she doesn't like doing this, but in the time of war, they really have to work together. So even though she's not going to fight and make these people love her, it doesn't mean that she likes what's happening here. And I definitely think we're going to see some of the Sansa and Daenerys drama happen next episode as we see little glimpses of that from the trailer. And this entire episode, like I said before, is an homage to the pilot. Now let's talk about Cersei. Qyburn was very distraught when he heard that the wall had fallen down, but she had this sense of relief. She wants the White Walkers and Daenerys and Jon Snow to all destroy each other. This is all what she wants. And even though she's disgusted by Euron, she clearly doesn't want to be with him, but he gave her the Golden Army. He's done all these things for her. So she, in many ways, is just putting up with him. But I actually think that she might try to kill him in future episodes. And I actually did really like the reunion between Arya and the Hound. Thought it would have been better if they hugged, but I appreciated the somber tone of it all, as these are two people that were not very nice to each other, and now they're acknowledging that they were friends. But I really actually preferred the reunion between Arya and Gendry, because they really haven't seen each other since Season 3. And a lot of fans think it's possible that we're going to see a little bit of a romance between them. And from some of the dialogue, I definitely can see that. But it seems in the next episode we're going to see this new weapon that Gendry is going to make for Arya. It is 2 spears, 2 sides to it, and we actually see her holding it in the trailer for this season. She probably will use it in some way to take out the Night King. I definitely could see her doing that. And you also have Bronn, who really shocked me in that scene where he pretty much guarantees that he will try at least to kill Tyrion and Jaime. Maybe he won't, but that's the exact crossbow that Tyrion used to kill Tywin in ways poetic justice. Now, Euron, I'm glad now that Yara is free from Euron's clutches, and she now sends Theon back. She's allowing him to go to the north, as she's going to go back and try to take back the Iron Islands. But he, I think, is probably going to die in Winterfell. So they're trying to do this whole romance between Daenerys and Jon Snow. But you're definitely going to see a conflict next episode, since Jon now knows that he himself is Targaryen. And the scene where he rides a dragon is so cool. But we also have a callback to the cave scene between Ygritte and Jon, where Daenerys talks about staying there for 1,000 years. The exact line that Ygritte said to him. So Sansa is pretty pissed that Tyrion made this huge mistake of trusting Cersei. But I actually think that Tyrion probably does have a trick up his sleeve. I don't know what it exactly is, but it's going to be a really big surprise. And you also have a callback to the Purple Wedding, where Sansa left Tyrion and which ultimately put him on trial. I like the little line where she talks about having its moments, which is definitely a reference to Joffrey's death. So Sam is pretty pissed at Daenerys, not really for killing his father, but specifically his brother. Because Daenerys, she didn't want to kill them. They wouldn't bend the knee to her. So she sees it as the only way that she could have dealt with the situation, which definitely isn't true. She could have took them as prisoners. But notice how the way that Sam reacts to his brother's death, much different than to his father's death. You also have that crazy reunion for the Night's Watch at the Umber Castle, which, that symbol you see on the wall, this is crazy, but that symbol has been there since the very beginning of the show. In the very first episode, you see all these bodies making that exact symbol. It is freaky as fuck. Also, in the Hodor episode, see a group of bodies forming around, which make the exact same symbol. So the Umber Boy, which stood for Jon Snow, he was obviously kind of turned into a White Walker. That scream he gave was almost human-like as he went on fire, and it was in a way meant to send a message, as Beric said that they had to get to Winterfell before the Night King did, which is going to be hard. So Jon now knows that he is a Targaryen. I thought it was actually better that Sam gives him this information and not Bran, because him and Bran really haven't interacted that much. So it's crazy that he's a Targaryen and Daenerys is also a Targaryen, which is going to cause some drama in the north. And I can't wait how they're going to bring in Sam with this whole Daenerys thing. And you also have that crazy ending with Jaime finally reuniting with Bran since the very first episode. The reaction on Jaime's face is classic as he realizes that this boy is now grown up and he's in some pretty deep shit, as we can see in the trailer for the next episode. So thank you guys for watching today. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, share this video with all your friends, and let me know in the comments, what are your theories for what's going to happen on the next episode of Game of Thrones, and really the whole season as a whole. I'm going to keep doing Game of Thrones videos. I'm sorry this video was a few days late. I was just a little sick this week, so I couldn't record. Thank you all for watching, and I will hasta la vista.